What happens when an ordinary human, an orphan boy who grew up on the streets, manages to do something that not even the gods thought possible? Seiya of Pegasus threw a punch that killed a god. And I need you to understand the magnitude of this. We're not talking about defeating a strong enemy. We're not talking about winning a difficult battle. We're talking about a human being made of flesh and bone, destroying an entity that existed before the very concept of time. This moment changed Saint Seiya forever, and it changed the way we understand what it means to be a hero. Let me take you back to that day. The sanctuary was in ruins. The battle of the 12 houses had taken its toll. Gold saints had fallen. Friends had bled. Every step of those stairs was marked with sacrifice and pain. Seiya and his companions crossed the impossible house by house, facing warriors who were considered invincible. But all of that was just the warm-up, because at the top, waiting for them, was Saga of Gemini, or rather, what was left of him, a man divided between light and darkness, possessed by an evil that even he couldn't control. The Grand Master who betrayed Athena, the most powerful knight of his generation, corrupted to his very soul, and behind Sagu, the true threat. Hades, the lord of the underworld, one of the 3 great Olympian gods, a being so ancient that he watched entire civilizations rise and fall like the blink of an eye, a god who considered humans less important than insects. Seiya didn't stand a chance. Let's be honest here. If we analyze it coldly, calculating power, experience, divine nature against mortal nature, Seiya should have been erased from existence with a single thought. Hades wouldn't even need to lift a finger. The difference between them was like comparing an ant to the sun. But Seiya never learned how to do math. He never understood that some battles are impossible to win. He never accepted that there are limits humans cannot surpass. Every time someone said, "You can't," Seiya heard, "You haven't tried hard enough yet." And that's exactly what makes that punch so special. Pay attention to what happens before the blow. Seiya is destroyed. His body can't take any more. Every broken bone, every torn muscle, every drop of blood spilled screams at him to stop. Logic says to give up. Reason begs for surrender. But he looks at Athena. He looks at the goddess he swore to protect. He looks at the person who represents everything he fought for. And in that moment, something happens inside him. Something that transcends the physical, something that defies the very laws of the universe. Seiya's cosmos explodes. It's not just an increase in power, it's a complete transformation. It's a human being refusing to accept the limitations of his own existence. It's pure willpower becoming cosmic energy. It's the impossible bowing before determination. And then comes the punch, the Pegasus Meteor Fist. The same attack Seiya used hundreds of times before. But this time, it's different. This time, it carries the weight of all the previous battles. This time, it carries the hope of everyone who believed in him. This time, it carries the absolute refusal to let evil win. Seiya's fist pierces through a god's defense. Imagine the scene from Hades' point of view. You're an immortal deity. You've commanded armies of specters for millennia. You've defeated legendary knights as if they were toys. And now, a boy, a mere human, is doing something that should be literally impossible. Your divine body feels pain. Your divine body bleeds. Your divine body dies. The expression of shock on Hades' face in that moment says everything. It's not just surprise at losing, it's total incomprehension of how this could be happening. Gods don't die at the hands of mortals. That's not part of the rules of the universe. But Seiya wasn't playing by the rules of the universe. He was playing by the rules of the human heart. You know what I find most beautiful about this scene? It's that Seiya doesn't win alone. That punch carries the energy of all his friends, Shiryu, Hyugashun, Iki. Each one of them gave everything they had during the battle. Each one of them contributed to that final moment. Seiya was just the vehicle, the messenger, the arm that executed the collective will of people who refused to accept defeat. That's why this moment is so important to Saint Seiya as a whole. Because it's not about special powers, it's not about privileged births or grand destinies. It's about ordinary people doing extraordinary things because they have no other choice. The Bronze Saints were considered the lowest class. They were seen as trash by the Silver and Gold Saints. Nobody expected anything from them. Nobody thought they would go far. And they were the ones who saved the world. They were the ones who defeated the traitorous Gold Saint. They were the ones who faced Poseidon. They were the ones who descended into hell itself to fight against Hades. They were the ones who proved that a person's worth isn't in the armor they wear, but in the heart they carry. The sanctuary was never the same after that day. The physical structures could be rebuilt. The columns could be raised again. But something fundamental changed in the cosmic order. The gods discovered they weren't as invincible as they thought. Humans discovered they weren't as weak as they believed. Seiya of Pegasus, the orphan boy nobody wanted, did the impossible. And you know what's the coolest part of this story? The price he paid, that punch, didn't come free. Seiya's body absorbed damage that no mortal should survive. In the continuations of the story, we see the consequences, the after effects, the real cost of defying the gods. But he would do it again. Without thinking twice, Seiya would do it all over again, because for him, protecting Athena and his friends is worth any sacrifice, worth any pain, worth even his own existence. That's what separates true heroes from ordinary people. It's not power. It's not skill. It's the willingness to give everything, absolutely everything, for what you believe in. Seiya taught us that limits only exist until someone decides to ignore them. That gods are only invincible until a human too stubborn proves otherwise. That the impossible is just a word people without courage use to justify their giving up. That punch didn't just kill Hades. It killed the idea that there are insurmountable barriers. Now answer me something. If you had the chance to throw a single blow, a punch capable of changing everything, but you knew it would cost you everything you have, would you still throw that punch? Or are there some victories that simply aren't worth the price?